All right. Hope most of you are really shocked to see it that really come in live, but I'm really trying to really elevate how we obviously come in here and obviously give you the latest news and information as far as Manchester United is concerned. And today we are having a huge story. Erik ten Hag in the night confirmed that two United players are set to return from injury either on the weekend or on the game of Bayern Munich. So smash the like button, comment and share. It's a Monday. Hope you guys are really having a fantastic stay onto this channel, and we're here to bring you the latest news and information as far as Manchester United is concerned. Scott Mctominay is being linked to Bayern Munich or to a move away to Bayern Munich in January. And again, there is another update concerning Garnacho making a choice of Argentina, and his choice has been hailed by one of the legendaries down in Argentina. So we thank God for the gift of life. It's a Monday, and the Muslims, may Allah really grant you all your endeavors that you're chasing for today and the protection, because it's said when Allah, oh Lord, doesn't really protect a city, no one else can. So they're the first ones to protect us, and we come in here in peace to obviously talk to you on this platform. So smash the like button, close to 400 times, and let's continue to spread the love of this channel by subscribing, guys. How do you subscribe? Lower right bottom corner is the place to be. Smash the black button that has the word subscribe. After smashing it, hit the notification bell that will enable you get notified every time we upload a video onto this channel. Remember, you can as well support us by buying a super chat on this channel. How do you buy a super chat? Go below the live chat and do the needful by clicking that $sign, and you can obviously give us something that really won't really affect your pockets. And you can also join and become a member to this beautiful YouTube channel and obviously tell us what your thoughts are. I'm having Lucky Justice already in. Good morning. I'm good. Hope you, where I am right now, it's afternoon. It's good afternoon. I don't know whether you are. I don't know which country you are, but obviously one of the things are really happening. Now, let's start it off with Erik ten Hag confirming to us that there is a couple of players of United that are set to return at the club of Manchester United this week. And Ten Hag said this during an interview with the Manchester United TV, and I think they needed to put out something that it really boosts the morale at the club of Man United, because things are not going on well as planned at the club of Manchester United, and this really was 100% called for. It was needed badly, and everything really had to be thrown to us. Now, Erik ten Hag revealed that one of his currently injured Manchester United players could be back available for selection when United travels to Bayern Munich. The Reds will kick off their UEFA Champions League tie against Bayern Munich on Wednesday as we return. Giants in Bavaria on Wednesday as we return to top-tier European competition for the first time since 2021-2022. United have been badly affected by injuries in the opening matches of the season, so Red supporters will be pleased to learn of Erik ten Hag's prognosis, as expect some of the current absentees to return to fold in the upcoming period. That is what ten Hag said. And in his words, he said, maybe one player, but I think Munich is a little bit too short, said the boss, when asked in his post-match press conference about the possibility of his squad being bolstered for our trip to Munich. But I think when we go to Burnley in a week, I think players will return, yes. And the Reds, he also added and said, absolutely, Bayern Munich, I think, is one of the favorites to win the Champions League, so we have to be good. He continued, but I think I have already explained what we need there. We need character, belief, resiliency, determination, and absolute determination. Absolutely. That's what the manager really had to say. And later he confirmed to us that the two players he's talking about are Rafael Varane and Mason Mount. Rafael Varane is a player that has always gone ahead to give us the best in as far as experience is concerned, leadership, and being a solid defender. He's the best defender we have at Man United. I know most people really love Lisandro Martinez, but Martinez has shown us that his best partner playing as a centre back is none other than Rafael Varane. So Rafael Varane is the best partner for him, and I think he's the one who gives him the best that he deserves as a defender, and brings out the best of Lisandro Martinez into that team. So Mason Mount, who should we first talk about? Now, let me first even go in the live chat and ask you guys, who are you excited? Who do you think should return? Who has gone ahead to excite you? Whose return has excited you? Whose return, let me put it here, whose return has excited you? Let's put here Varane, all right, and Mount. So I'm starting the poll, so you guys, you can as well vote and tell me whose return is gonna hit to excite you as you, the fans of Man United, because we are having Rafael Varane and Mason Mount return very soon. And there is a tweet that was really put out. Let me try and see whether I can find it. Mason Mount, and that story was obviously making rounds all over social media, that Mason Mount was expecting to return on the game of Bayern Munich as we play away from home this week. Our first Champions League game to be really played by Man United. So Mason Mount was hoping to return as soon as possible, but we don't know whether the manager is obviously going to find him a position to see to it that he really returns. And we are told by this is John Sport that a follow-up for Mason Mount scan has returned positive, but Ten Hag has opted for caution in planning the player's return. There is an outside chance he could be in the squad for the match against Brighton. So, meaning that Mason Mount has already been training and is on the grass, and all we need to know is him and his return. I know we have gone ahead not to see the best of him and how he benefits this team. That's why most of us were so much negative about his purchase by Erik ten Hag, because you cannot come out and obviously not go in and obviously go in for the priorities that this team needs. When you look at the team of Man United, it's not Mason Mount that we really need. All we need was Sofian Amrabat first. We needed Rasmus Højlund is here. We needed a right-sided centre-back, you know. Those are the players that we needed first before Ten Hag went in for Mason Mount, went in for Onana. I don't blame him for doing that, but according to the problems we're having at Man United, we needed another right-sided centre-back such that we really give Harry Maguire an exit route out of this club of Man United. Then we needed Amrabat first in that midfield, not Mason Mount, then Rasmus Højlund. So if those three came in time, all on time, and you went with those three to our US tour and they are part of the team, I think would have gone ahead to have a better start of the season. But we are not having a better start of the season. Do you know why? Because the club really made a very bad decision with Erik ten Hag. You know, their players would have gone ahead to sign early enough, because we know the problem of Man United. We know it, that we are a team that takes long to really execute these deals. Now, if you are the team that takes long to execute those deals, what do? You have to go in for the players that you need, that you think are missing into that midfield. I saw Erik ten Hag put out a very huge statement about Sofian Amrabat, that he can play with Casemiro, and United has been lacking that player to play alongside Casemiro. Now, if at all he knew it, did he think that Mason Mount could do the job? And I had very many people, when you're really pursuing for Mason Mount, insinuating that he's going to obviously put in some energy in that midfield. I told people, Amrabat is the key to our season. That is it. Amrabat was the key to the success of the season of Manchester United. I said it 100%. If you've been a usual or a regular on this channel, you've heard me since the summer started, that Amrabat is the key to our success this season. And I gave you my reasons. 1, Amrabat can play alongside Casemiro. 2, Amrabat can play in the CDM area and Casemiro can shift to be played as a centre-back. We know that very well. So, if you bring in Amrabat, you would have gone ahead to solve very many problems, like killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Ten Hag also went ahead and told us that Amrabat can play as a right back. I never knew that Amrabat can play as a right back, but Amrabat can play as a right back. Amrabat can play as a central attacking midfielder. So there is a lot of dynamism into the play of Amrabat that we needed to sign him immediately. And I'm trying to respond to Lucky Justice asking me, hope Amrabat is fit to play on Wednesday. Amrabat is not yet fit to play, and Ten Hag has not gone ahead to give us a go onto that. But let's wait and see tomorrow in the press conference of United playing away at Bayern Munich on which players are obviously going to be available. And I was still talking about Amrabat. That's the reason as to why we had to go in for Amrabat as soon as possible. Hope you really get my point, that we had to go in for Amrabat as soon as possible. I'm having Christine Nabawanuka. Good afternoon, David. What about Amrabat? Amrabat is not yet fit. He's not yet fit. And I think we might see Amrabat return, I think, in like 2 weeks from now. But we wait to see what the manager is going to tell us. But when you look at our fixtures as a club of Man United, when you hear that Mason Mount and Varane are back, at least you're 100% sure that you've gone ahead to really have an improvement on your bench, because in the previous 2 games we've gone ahead to play, our bench has been really limited. Against Arsenal, I told you in the match preview that I don't think we are going to win the game of Arsenal, and the best we can get out of that game was a draw. Do you know why? I knew we never had a very good bench. You know, against Brighton, we had Anton Martial. We also never had a good bench, because the only threat we had was Garnacho and Anton Martial. I know Pelestri is a good player, but you cannot really load him onto that huge burden when you are 2 goals down to come in through and obviously change the beautiful game of football. No way. He couldn't. So if you're having Mount and Varane returning, that's a very good boost, because you'll know that we are almost having some players onto the bench that can obviously change the game. Rafael Varane tightens, all water tightens the central defense. Mason Mount, however much is not going to have to pick up, but you know that you rather have Mason Mount onto that bench other than having Gore or Hannibal on that bench. You know that very well. So the last game he played for Man United was against Tottenham Hotspur. He really had some positives in that game, and we can't wait to see how that really happens. And I'm having Diala Chizoba telling me the good morning, sir. Good morning. I'm not happy with our performance, honestly. And guys, let's not go ahead and really lose hope. We've just gone ahead to play 5 games, right? 5 games only have been played by Manchester United, and people have gone ahead to lose hope. Let's not lose hope. What we have to do is, let's first see how our first 10 games are going to go. We are left with 5 games to make it 10 games in a row, and those games are against Burnley. I'm talking about the Premier League, Crystal Palace, Brentford, Sheffield, and Man City. So I believe by the time we play Man City on the 29th of October, I think would have gone ahead to get out of the international break. Players like Sofian Amrabat, Kobe Menu is also going to be back. Varane, Mason Mount will be back in our squad. That is it. So if we get Sofian Amrabat back very soon, I know 2 weeks from now, Sofian Amrabat will be ready, and I think we can go through these games. We can go out at Burnley and really get a result. We can beat Crystal Palace at Old Trafford, and let's hope that we turn in the game of Galatasaray as we play Galatasaray at Old Trafford, because we need him badly to obviously get included into this team of Man United. So I think let's judge the performance of our squad after 10 games. And you know, to it that we are really lacking players, and that's why you're playing like that. But I know this team will get back to winning ways. We'll get back to winning ways because we are better than that. Rafael Varane returning is a very huge boost. And let me see how you guys have gone ahead to vote. Let me end the poll. The poll shows that 86% are excited to see Varane back, and 13% are excited to see Mason Mount back. So thank you very much, guys, for your votes and voting. And I'm having David Zimula is talking about Varane, Wambi Umaru, Varane because Mount has no impact on Man United. Then I'm having Mose. Good afternoon, David. Good afternoon to you too. How are you? And you are telling me that definitely Varane, that is Mose. Chizoba, I'm not happy with the performance. Honestly, it's getting crazy. I understand. Doshelari, good morning, sir. Good morning. John Evans, Cabraza, tell me the truth about Bissaka. Why not start against Brighton? I think it was just result for the game of Bayern Munich. You know, Bissaka is a solid player. He doesn't balance the two. That is the defensive side and the offensive side. So the reason as to why Erik ten Hag really never played him in that game and brought him on as a substitute was simple. He has a very hard game to play away at Bayern Munich, and he wants to defend. I know he's going to defend and then try to hit them on the break. That's why Aaron Wan-Bissaka never really showed up when we played Brighton. But I think Dalot had a very good game. Dalot closed Mitoma down very well, and Mitoma had nothing to play in that game. So smash the like button, comment and share. If you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. And guys, continue to subscribe to this channel. Subscribe, and buy those super chats by supporting this team. By supporting this channel to grow as we want to make a better and better studio. That is it. Now, I'm having Chizoba. I'm not happy with our performance, honestly. I know no one is happy, but we hope for the better to come because Ten Hag has been here before, and we think he's obviously going to go on and obviously take us to the next level. Then Dashelari, good morning, sir. Then I'm having Adam. What about Amrabat? I think Amrabat is going to return in like 2 weeks from now. That is it, expectedly. So we wait and see an update coming in from Erik ten Hag on whether Amrabat is going to be available for the game of Bayern Munich. Then Chizoba, why is Marcus Rashford so selfish? That is one of the things that Ten Hag needs to address. We talked about it in the player ratings. We talked about it in the match reaction, that this lad is really so selfish that he doesn't even think about what the team is all about. He thinks about himself, you know. But I saw a tweet coming in from there is a person who really came out and counterattacked people who really talked about Rashford being selfish, and he put out a tweet and positions and photos that indicated how Rashford had gone ahead to release Rasmus Højlund 3 times, and Rasmus Højlund failed to obviously put that ball into the back of the net. But I really understand that these 3 chances that he's talking about were there, but Rashford was not supposed to obviously stop here. That is it. This is what they told us. That is the first time, and this is the first chance that Rasmus Højlund really got and missed. I think if at all you watch the game, you remember it very well. Rasmus Højlund got that chance and he missed to tap that ball into the back of the net. That was the first miss. We all know that it was really a miss for Rasmus Højlund. Then the second one came in through and he scored it. He scored that, and it was ruled out. You get? Then the third frame that Rashford put in a cutback in the second half, and Rasmus Højlund couldn't obviously put in a shift. So they are trying to nullify it. But all I want to let you know is that sometimes what we've not got ahead to do is that Rasmus Højlund has not connected well with Marcus Rashford. That's why you saw to it that when Rashford is playing with Antoine Martial, there is different chemistry altogether because they've been playing together for close to 6, 7, 8 years at Manchester United. All we have to blame is the board for not going in for Rasmus Højlund early enough, for Amrabat early enough, for getting in a right-footed central defender in that team. They are the problem of this club, because if we went ahead and obviously did that job early enough, if we had done that job early enough, trust me, we would have gone ahead to obviously see to it that Marcus Rashford and Rasmus Højlund have gone ahead to link up together. They would have gone ahead to know each other and read each other like a book. That's the problem, you know, because when you look at this third slide, Look at this third slide. You see, Rashford puts in this cutback, but he doesn't know exactly where this boy is. So they need to learn each other's runs. That is it. They need to learn it. And you know why sometimes players don't really perform to the levels expect them to perform? It's because they don't know one another. And this is the most talked about point, where Marcus Rashford had to obviously go in for a cutback cross and went in for short. Here, you know, Rashford never thought of going in for this far post cross to obviously meet Rasmus Hojlund, gone ahead to make a very huge run. And look at even Sergio Reguilon. He had gone ahead to come in through, and if at all Rashford just had a chop out to see to it that he finds another player, would have gone ahead to obviously take us to the next level as a club of Man United. But to me, I believe these are things that are going to be rectified. I really agree with Erik ten Hag that let's all admit we are creating chances and we are not scoring those chances. All what we need is scoring these chances. And we still have time, guys. 5 games in, if we recover in the next 5 games, trust me, we'll be back in that top 4 and the competition will be on. That is it. So, I'm not afraid for this season. I still believe that we can do lots of things together and we will take ourselves to the next level. I'm having David Zimla. Varane is more important. No Huche in a Brighton game. We had no formation. No, the formation was there, but the plan was simple. The plan was simple. That be the first to score. That's why we used a lot of energy in the first 15 minutes. But the moment we failed to really convert those chances that we created, and Brighton went ahead to score against us, there is the way the heads of these players really went down. But we kept on pressing and really putting up a very huge threat to Brighton. And secondly, Ten Hag is to blame for certain times that why couldn't you play Pelestri on the right side of the attacking midfield? Because, you know, he gives you another outlet. What Rashford cannot give you, Pelestri gives it to you. Why didn't you start Pelestri into that game and then you... Sorry about that. You went ahead and killed the position of Bruno Fernandes, because Bruno Fernandes is one of the best central attack midfielders in the world. He came in this team when he had gone ahead to put in a hat-trick of assists against Portugal as they played against, was it Luxembourg? And then he scored a goal. So he was fired up. He was 100% fired up. That is Bruno Fernandes. So to my own understanding, I think Ten Hag needs to understand that there is a player we shouldn't displace from that midfield. That is none other than Bruno Fernandes. We need Bruno Fernandes to obviously show up in that central attacking midfield area. And you saw to it that when he came in the central midfield, you saw how he started to release the players in front of us. So we shouldn't really allow him to go. Then Wandera Paul Vincent, it's time to criticize our team for only 5 games. Yeah, 5 games are still too early. And I think let's all respect the manager for the injuries he's having. I don't think that if at all this manager had Rafael Varane, Luke Shaw, Kobe Menu, Amrabat, you know, would have gone ahead to be going through this crisis. But this crisis is created by the problem that we are lacking senior players. Luke Shaw is a leader in the team. Varane is a leader in the team. You know, Amrabat will provide us with more different abilities that Casemiro does not give us as the team of Man United. So you just need to get to know that these players are missed. You know, the manager is having close to 7-8 injuries. David Zimla now, who will play in the right wing. I don't know what is going to do with the game of Bayern Munich, but I don't really want to see Erik ten Hag playing Bruno Fernandes on the right wing. I don't want to see it. Bruno is best efficient when he's being played as a central attacking midfielder. Managerial, is that how we are going to play against Hurricane? I don't know. David Zimla talk about Sancho. Sancho was really playing for the under 21s. And he was seen, as we are losing to Bayern Munich, as we are losing to Brighton, watching the under 18s play. That is it. So Sancho has not gone ahead to apologize to the club of Man United, and Erik ten Hag wants an apology. If at all Sancho is to get back into the starting 11 of Manchester United. If Sancho doesn't apologize, don't expect him to be anywhere near the team of Manchester United. That is it. Then Wuro Samden, Erik ten Hag should have known he has a limited fund, so retain De Gea, then use your fund to bring in Kim Min-jae, Timber Amrabat, Gravenberch and Højlund. I also talked about that. All we needed was get Kim Min-jae in, get Amrabat in, Rasmus Højlund in, sell Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay for £60 million to West Ham. Use that £60 million money to obviously try to address other areas of the pitch. Because if we got in Kim Min-jae for £45 million, we get in Rasmus Højlund for 72, that is £110 million. You add on Amrabat for 25, that is like £140 million, meaning that we would have gone ahead to be left with some £30 million to spend. Then go ahead and sell Maguire and Scott McTominay for £60 million, meaning that we'll be having £90 million. We've gone ahead and obviously get in other players that you wanted, but we never put our emphasis onto where we needed these players to obviously get improved. And Mason Mount was brought in through fast. He wasn't a priority. And we spent £60 million onto signing the player. So I don't want to hear anybody coming out and putting out a narrative that Ten Hag didn't really do a blunder in his transfer signings. He did a very huge blunder, and that's why we are into this suffering. So guys, smash the like button close to 40 times because you're having 40 people watching in through, and don't forget to obviously get where we're supposed to be. Then Diala Chizoba, we miss David De Gea, our goalkeeper. I don't miss David De Gea, that's it, I'm telling you the truth, but I think the plan of execution was bad. Andre Onana would have waited, that is it, would have gone ahead to wait. But Kim Min-jae, Amrabat and Rasmus Højlund were supposed to be on the American tour, such that they sink into the chemistry of Man United very well, and we start it off. Remember, even last season, Anthony Casemiro came in towards the end of the transfer window. Very big mistake made by the board of Man United. Even we went to the tour with only one player, that was Tyrell Malacia, and this time we went to the tour with only two players, that is Mason Mount and Andre Onana. That is unacceptable. Because all those positions had been covered by United. All we needed were Amrabat, Kim Min-jae and Rasmus Højlund to be on that plane to America. That is it. But they are really having bad decisions to be made at the club of Man United, and this is what we need to obviously resolve as soon as possible. But all I know is that we are going to pick up steam, and this club is obviously going to perform. I'm 100% sure about that, because when Amrabat comes in that midfield with Casemiro, I think we're obviously going to become a much more better team. And the beauty of bringing in Amrabat is Casemiro won't be needed to play 90 minutes, because you see he needs some time to rest. He played a lot of football last year, the World Cup, every game for Man United, apart from those he was suspended, but he was readily available. And he looked like he needs to rest. He's burnt out, He needs to rest. Is Amrabat back? Not yet. Opio, Ivan, Rokani, any update on the takeover? They need to leave the club. Obviously, the last update I gave you is still the same. It still stands. Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Sheikh Jassim Al Thani are really patient, and they are willing to play what we call the L game. That is the long game until the Glazers leave the club of Manchester United. That is confirmed, and it's one of those things that the board of United is looking up to. They want to sell because they don't have money, but they are looking in for a figure around £6 billion. But Sheikh Jassim Al Thani is only offering 5.5, and they're still waiting for that fee to reach that number. And these performances are obviously putting pressure to them that they obviously don't get where they deserve to be. Christy Nabawanuka, Onana is good goalkeeper. To me, Onana is good, and is not going to have to do any mistake according to me. All what have to do is simple. We just have to obviously score our goals. That is it. If you create chances and don't score, and your opponent gets a chance to score, obviously he'll go ahead of you. That's what you have to fight as a club of Manchester United. All you have to fight is to see to it that we get those goals in. This season, we've scored one against Wolves, 3 against Nottingham Forest. Those are 4 goals. 1 against Arsenal and 1 against Brighton. Those are how many goals? We've not even scored 10 goals this season, But do you know how many chances we're going to have to create? When we are losing to Spurs, we had close to 5-6 chances of going ahead at their stadium, but we couldn't. And guess what happened? When they got their chance, they obviously went ahead to score. So we need to execute our chances. We need to execute our chances as we rectify the problem at the back, because last season we really kept very many clean sheets and our goalkeeper won the Golden Glove. That is David De Gea. So we need to keep those clean sheets. Now, let's shift from that and obviously bring in a story coming in from Tom Hopkinson, chief sports reporter for the Sunday Mirror and the Sunday People, confirming to us that Scott McTominay is a target for Bayern Munich in January. He features prominently on Thomas Tuchel's wanted list. Now, if there is anything I would love to happen at Man United is to see this player leave the club. That is it. This guy should leave the club of Man United. I saw him in the game of Brighton not putting in any effort, and I was asking myself, why did United reject £30 million from West Ham for Scott McTominay? That was the huge question. Why did we reject that money? Why did we reject that money? Yet they are willing to obviously take the player, and the player was willing to go. It shows you exactly the ugly bit of Manchester United on why they are really a reckless team and stupid team, according to me, because the decisions they make are obviously very, 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 very naive. You cannot tell me that you've been offered £30 million and you are not selling Scott McTominay. Why wouldn't you sell him? This guy needed to be sold off by this club of Man United to see to it that we thrive better in that midfield, because £30 million would have gone ahead to get us Sofian Amrabat on a permanent. That is it. So, Scott McTominay is one of the players I would love to see leave the club of Manchester United. And let me also run this poll and see what you guys think. Should McTominay be sold in January? Let me see what your thoughts are, because to me I think he should. Yes or no? Tell me your thoughts about that. It's up. So you go ahead and tell me something you think about Scott McTominay. And as we go to the Scott McTominay and really get in your votes, let's obviously get in this story coming in from Argentina. Mascherano on the fact that Garnacho has now linked his international future with Argentina. He said, the discovery of Garnacho is that of him and his decision to want to play for Argentina. None of this would have happened if he hadn't wanted to. That's the reality, and we thank him for that. So, Garnacho, having played in the game of Bolivia, where they 16-17 minutes, he was now finally linked to Argentina, and he cannot really change his nationality to play for Spain, because remember, Spain wanted to obviously see Garnacho playing for them. But for Garnacho, I think he's being affected with how the team is obviously playing, because our team is playing badly, and when team is playing badly, players like Garnacho won't really thrive onto this beautiful game of football. They'll obviously have lots of struggles, and those struggles obviously affect the team. So for players like Garnacho at their age to thrive at the club of Man United, they need this entire club to obviously pick up, and live up to the expectations. If we don't live up to the expectations, then we're not going to find ourselves in a position of getting the best out of Garnacho. So to get the best out of Garnacho, it will be one of the things we'll obviously want to look at on several occasions, and obviously get to where we want to be as a club of Man United. But for Garnacho, he's now going to play for Argentina forever. He won't really leave the club because of everything that is happening right now at the club, at the country of Argentina. And I think he just needs to obviously find himself settled in at Argentina by proving it with his play at Manchester United. At Man United, he's really having a very slow start of the season, but you don't blame him because the club is also having some problems. But the reason as to why Ten Hag put him back on the bench is known, You know why? The game of Wolverhampton Wanderers, he got close to 2-3 chances, couldn't really put that ball in the back of the net. The game of Tottenham Hotspur, the same thing. And that's why Erik ten Hag obviously put him back to the bench, and maybe he thought that he had hurried to obviously start him as a left forward for the club of Manchester United. But even Marcus Rashford, who has been given that mandate to obviously come through and do the job, has turned out to be a selfish player. So I'm having Chizoba, we pray we get something this Bayern Munich match on Wednesday. Obviously, I know we'll get something from that game. Gashia, Motomba, hi RD, just joined. Thank you for watching in, Motomba. John Biamokama, thanks bro. I wish one day Garnacho and Pelestri, they start to cross for Højlund than Rashford. That will happen because sometimes you obviously have to really understand that everything needs time. I don't believe that if at all Pelestri really comes out and really proves to the manager that can obviously play very well from the start and put in assists, the manager will hesitate not to play him. You know, that is it. So let's wait and see how that really happens. But I'm 100% sure it will happen. Then Mutomba, is Varane and Mount available for Bayern Munich? The manager said one of those might be available. So I don't know who exactly will be available. But Mason Mount looks like is the player that's obviously going to be available on that game of Bayern Munich. That is it. It sounds like Varane is going to be available for the game of Burnley. And I prefer Varane to be available for the game of Burnley because we still have other games to play in the Champions League. But the Premier League is obviously really leaving us. If we don't get 3 points against Burnley, we are going to be looking very shrewd, you know? So all I want to see is Rafael Varane playing away at Burnley in that central defense with Lisandro Martinez, right? Then in the game of Bayern Munich, even if we find ourselves in a position of losing it, but respectively, that will be okay. And even Bayern is not a team that can threaten us a lot. I don't really want to see you guys threaten about Bayern Munich. I respect the team, but they are not all that a threat. I saw them draw with this side. Did they draw? I think they drew. Bayern Munich and Bayern Leverkusen. Yeah, they drew 2-2. They drew 2-2, and that shows you exactly how they are not yet up there, you know? So they're getting their first biggest test with Manchester United, although we are also struggling to pick up our form, but I believe we can get a job done at Bayern. I'm 100% sure with that. Then I'm having Gashia Mutomba. Why is Erik ten Hag not benching Rashford? For me, it's not all about benching him. It's all about telling him to do the right thing. I think Rashford, having scored 30 goals last season, has gone ahead to really gate that that immunity to do what he wants. And Ten Hag obviously just believes that he just needs that one goal to obviously get going and obviously settle in very well. That is it. So we wait and see what Rashford is going to show us in the game of Bayern Munich. That's what I'm waiting for. If he does that shit again and Ten Hag doesn't really talk about him, then we shouldn't really blame Rashford again. We should blame the manager because the player is doing things contrary to what the team is needing. Height Studios, United is not far away to become good. Yeah, all I think is we need Sofian Amrabat. We need his energy in that midfield, you know, because Scott McTominay and Casemiro couldn't obviously see us not concede goals against Brighton, because all those 3 goals that we conceded were because of Scott McTominay and Casemiro not being into their right positions when you're being attacked. Welbeck scores that goal because no one tracked that run of Welbeck from the midfield. The same applies to Pasco, you know, Yao Pedro, you know. We almost conceded those 3 goals in the same fashion. That is it. We need to be having numbers into that position, right? We should defend as a team and attack as a team. That is it. Then M. Kule Bernard, good afternoon, bro. Thanks for the updates, but the coach should bench Rashford and give other players to prove themselves in those 2 positions at the right wing and left wing. So for my case, I think it's too early. Let's wait and see how that happens, because you are the same people who used to call me a person who had an agenda on Marcus Rashford last season. I told you that. However much Rashford is scoring in those goals, but he's costing us. I said this last season that Rashford is putting in those balls at the back of the net, but he's a selfish player. Most of you termed me as a person who has an agenda onto Marcus Rashford, but I don't have any agenda on Marcus Rashford. All I want is to see United winning, because I really saw to it that each and every time Marcus Rashford scored 2 goals, we're not going to hate to score 5 or 6, you know. So all I want us to know is that Ten Hag is in control, and let's give this team more 5 games and see how we are going to be playing, and let's see other players really coming out, because we are having only one outlet, that is that of Marcus Rashford from the wing, and all we need is to see to it that we get to where we want to be. So benching Marcus Rashford, I don't think it's going to be possible, but all I know is that he should be taken off when he's doing nonsense. For that, I agree with you that when Marcus Rashford is doing the contrary to what the team needs to win, the manager needs to bench him and bring on Alejandro Garnacho, maybe to prove himself. That is it, because he cannot keep him onto as a striker as we are having Rasmus Højlund and Anton Martial. That is it. Then we are having Garcia Mutomba. I want a front of Garnacho, Højlund and Pelestri being supplied by Bruno, anchored by Amrabat and Casemiro for the Burnley match. That will be a very good game, but I don't see this happening. But with the number of games you're playing, maybe sometimes Rashford will be benched and then Garnacho will start. It's possible. Also, Mkule Bernard, I'm your fellow Ugandan watching you live from Doha, Qatar. Thank you for watching in from Doha, Qatar, and hope everything is going on well. Then Garcia Mutomba, Rashford must be told that we now have a striker which he must play with. One cross from Rashford and Højlund scored. Now, I understand all that, but all this goes back to the board on why they took long to bring in these players. If we went to America and played those games that we played there, when you're having Amrabat, Rasmus Højlund into that team, they would have gone ahead to sink deep into that chemistry of that team. Rashford and Rasmus Højlund have just trained together for like 2 weeks. So I don't blame Rashford sometimes onto this, because he has not gotten to know the movements of Rasmus Højlund, and Rasmus Højlund wasn't going to have to know what Rashford is all about, you know. But the more they play together, Rashford will know that when I run like this, Rasmus Højlund will be getting the message that this is going to happen next. So all we need to see is Rasmus Højlund playing more games with Marcus Rashford, and then we see how they're going to thrive together. That's what we need. Then I'm having Garcia Mutomba. Welbeck goal was Casemiro fault. I think Casemiro and Eriksson don't have legs anymore. We need mobile midfielders, and I want Kobe Menu back and partner Amrabat. Kobe Menu is going to be back. Kobe Menu is going to be back very, very soon. I think November is when Kobe Menu is going to be back. After the international break, by the way. After the international break, because we are going to have a break from the 8th, right? We are going to be having a break from the 8th, right? And I think we are going to play again. Is it on the 20th? Something. Let me check here. We are last playing our game on the 7th of October against Brentford. Then we go to the international break of 14 days and then return to play away at Sheffield on the 21st of October. So around the 21st of October, we might be having Kobe Menu back. And when you're having Kobe Menu, Casemiro, Amrabat in that team, others starting, others on the bench, that will be something great. Meaning that Casemiro will be getting rest. Sometimes Amrabat and Kobe Menu will play. Casemiro will be playing like 60 minutes, take him off, get on Kobe Menu to play in that midfield with the man himself, that is Sofian Amrabat. So that is possible, and it will happen. The legs are really important into this team. Height Studios, I appreciate your effort watching from South Africa. Thank you for watching from South Africa. And thank you for obviously telling us your thoughts about Man United and what your thoughts are. Opio Ivan Aradi, any update on Amad Diallo injury, because I'm missing him on that right wing. All right. So that is it coming from Ivan. For him, I think December might be the time for him to return. That is Amad Diallo. So that's what we had for you, and let's end this poll and see how you guys have gone ahead to vote. 90% of you want Scott McTominay sold, and 10% of you don't want him sold. So That's what you guys have gone ahead to vote for. But for me, I think Scott McTominay, it's high time he left the club of Manchester United. So guys, that's what I had for you. Thank you for watching in through. Those that are going to watch this video later, hope you really come in through with your views into the comment section below. But don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and after subscribing, hit the notification bell. That will enable you get notified every time I upload a video on this channel. Smash the like button, guys. I sign out for now. See you later in the next 3 hours as we return with the latest news coming in from Manchester United. I cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. May the living true God bless you abundantly. And the Muslim viewers and subscribers,